Let's head to Kenya, where the International Trade Union Confederation Africa has held its 5th Delegates Conference in Nairobi. At the conference, with the theme Amka Africa, world leaders encourage workers in the continent to collaborate. Our correspondent Sharon Jason was there and has more on this.
It's the opening ceremony of the 5th Delegate Conference of the International Trade Union Confederation Africa in Nairobi, Kenya. Delegates from 52 African countries gathered to discuss challenges facing the world of work and propose solutions.
The right to strike is fundamental, and it has brought us where we are today. Nothing has been decided yet on this, because it's in the hands of the International Court of Justice. But let's cross our fingers that the International Court will confirm our view. We are the largest social movement in the world. We are also the largest defenders of democracy. Being the largest movement defending democracy, we are unfortunately also the first targets of those that want to destroy democracy.
The Director General of the International Labour Organization, ILO, assured workers of joining ITUC Africa in the campaign against xenophobia and discrimination against free movement of workers within the continent.
The coalition will increase multilateral cooperation, partnership, and actions on the ground in order to advance the social justice and decent work for all, the fighting against inequalities, the fighting for equal access to opportunities, the fight against exclusion has to be at the core of our daily work.
The President of Kenya presented awards to labor leaders who have served the movement meritoriously, including former President of NLC and ITUC Global, Ayuba Waba.
The award means a lot to me because when you are out of the system and you are called upon to be awarded, I think it makes a lot of sense. Not when people are in office and they try to manipulate all manner of awards. I think it's something that I will cherish all the rest of my life for having worked for the global trade union movement and being recognized at this very colorful event. I think it's something that I really appreciate. It means that all our efforts have not been in vain.
At the ongoing ITUC conference happening here in Kenya, several discussions were made, while the highlight of it is the essential collaboration of African workers for national building across the continent. Sharon Ijason, TVC News, Kenya.
And our correspondent Sharon Ijaso joins me now from Kenya for more on this. Good to see you once again, Sharon. One of the objectives of the International Trade Union Confederation that we know is to defend the rights and interests of workers. Can you tell us how this formed discussed at the event?
Well, it's the 5th Delegate Conference. It means that there have been several discussions before now. So the argument now is how can they actually adjust to the realities on ground? We have labor leaders across African continent come together to compare notes because for them, they believe that the challenges that an African worker is faced with is quite similar. So the possibility of the solutions to some of the challenges that they're faced with would actually be similar. So for them at the ITUC Africa, it's important for decent work to be prioritized, as this would actually improve social justice and collective bargaining agreements.
Well, the theme of this year's discuss is Amka Africa. Can you also enlighten us on the meaning of this and how this theme reflects the union's motive?
So Amka Africa means wake up Africa. It means that there's a lot that we can do as Africans. We have to move on from being probably the third world country or underdeveloped country to become a country or a continent that is very viable. We all know the natural resources that Africa is actually blessed with. And it's been an interesting time, spending time with workers, looking at different potentials that each country actually has and how they can harness it. They've also been discussing about some of the challenges. Right now, as I speak, there's a Congress meeting going on. We have people and workers move into groups to discuss some of the issues that they are faced with. Recommendations are actually ongoing, and before the end of the day, there will be resolutions. And these resolutions are things that will be communicated to employers of labor to government at all levels. And even during the conference, we had some African presidents attend the conference to actually also emphasize the need for collaboration among African leaders. Collaboration among African leaders, of course, is important at this point in time, whereby there is mass immigration across the continent. Even within Africa, it's okay to complain that in Europe or in America, there might be some challenges an average worker will face in terms of when they migrate. But within Africa, also, the challenge is even worse. So, for example, the president of Kenya yesterday, while addressing workers, it says by the end of the year, no one is going to need a visa to enter Kenya. And it's expected that every other African country would do likewise. That way, there will be easy access within Africa. And when there is improved access in Africa, there can be more shared prosperity, and there will be a reduction in the discrimination an average African will face within the continent while trying to earn his or her living.
Well, that was TVC correspondent Sharon Ijaso speaking to us live from Nairobi. Thank you for joining us on the news at this time.